Lesson 2.5 goes along with the solving equations we've been doing. Now, the difference is this one is literal equations and formulas, so there's more than one variable. But it's still going to be the same steps. My plan is to go through lesson 2.5 today, and then that kind of takes us through all the equation solving. And then tomorrow, we're going to take a break from doing notes and back-to-back lessons, and we're going to work on a review worksheet to just kind of review over solving equations. Okay, my plan is possibly a quiz on Friday, I'm thinking maybe?
No.
Because that would give us time to practice these solving equations, make sure we know what we're doing, and then trying to quiz on Friday. Okay? Now, we talk, by definition, when you see the idea of a literal equation is just an equation that involves two or more variables. So instead of being able to, it's x's and numbers and being able to solve for x, your answer isn't going to be just numbers. So kind of like formulas. That's what we're working with today. We have two types of examples. At the top, we're going to talk about, okay, how can we solve this for m? And then once we've solved it for m, we're going to say, okay, what do we get when we substitute in these different n values over here? So, starting at the beginning, 2m minus 5n equals 4. Okay, think just like what we've been doing. If it's 2m minus 5n, my job is to get m by itself. So if I'm trying to get m by itself, I first need to actually get 2m by itself. How do I get 2m by itself? What's hanging out here that I need to move away?
The subtraction.
The minus 5n?
Yeah.
So if we need to move this minus 5n to try and get the 2m by itself, how do you move a minus 5n?
You got it.
Right, the opposite of subtracting 5n is going to be adding 5n. Now, think about what I've been saying for the last week or so. The opposite of subtracting 5n is adding 5n. If I add 5n on the left, we have to add 5n on the right. On the left, I'm still going to have 2m. Minus 5n plus 5n will cancel and be 0. On the right, what is 4 plus 5n?
9.
No.
Would it just be 4 plus 5?
Yeah. Can I actually add 4 plus 5n to be one term?
No.
No, because they're not like terms. So I can't add them because they're not like terms. So we just leave it. And we're going to say that 4 plus 5n is 4 plus 5n. Is m by itself? No, not quite.
So you have to divide the 4 by...
Well, just what are we divided by?
4.
2.
No. I'm trying to get m by itself. And if it's 2 times m, what are we trying to get away from the m?
Oh,
The 2. If I divide one side by 2, we're going to divide the other side by 2. Now, 2m divided by 2? No. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 2m divided by 2 is just going to be m. Now, this side, so I'm going to caution you. I know what you guys want to do. You want to say, oh, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2 plus 5n. But here's the trick. This 2 right here goes with the 4 and with the 5. It divides nicely into 4, but does it divide nicely into 5?
No.
It does not. So I'm just going to leave it as this fraction. And hopefully Math Excel will let you do that. I'm going to leave this as 4 plus 5n divided by 2. In my opinion, that's the easiest way to leave it. Okay. Now, what's the second half of this say?
N.
Find m when n equals -2, 0, and 2. Didn't we just come up with an equation here? Yeah. What they're wanting us to do is they're wanting us to do this equation. Find m. Notice m equals 4 plus 5n. What's the first n value they give us? They give us an n value of -2. So since it's 4 plus 5n divided by 2, I'm going to do 4 plus 5 times -2 divided by 2. Okay. Do the math. What's the math I have to do there?
4 times 2, 4 times 5, 8.
Did I hear something about 5 times the -2? So what okay. So yeah, 5 times -2, I would start there because we got to do that multiplication. So I'm still going to have 4 plus, what is 5 times -2? -10 divided by 2. So now, we got 4 plus -10 divided by 2. What's 4 plus -10? -6. Remember, grab a calculator if you need to. -6 divided by 2. -3. There's my first answer. Am I done? No, because they gave me 2 more, didn't they?
What if the last one though be the same, which is positive?
Nope, it does not. Okay, let's look at the next one. What's the next value I have to plug in? We're going to plug in 0. So this time, 4 plus 5n, so 4 plus 5 times 0, all divided by 2. Follow your same steps, right? Multiply first. 5 times 0 is 0. So now I have 4 plus 0 divided by 2. Ooh, tough one. 4 plus 0.
85.
4 plus 0 is
0. 4.
4.
Oh,
I made you overthink it, I guess. And then you have 4 divided by 2 is
8.
4 divided by 2?
Oh, well, I guess it's 2.
2. Okay. And one more. This time I am plugging in 2. 4 plus 5 times 2 divided by 2. What am I doing?
5 times
5 times 2 is 10. So now I have 4 plus 10 divided by 2. 4 plus 10 is 14. And 14 divided by 2 is 7.
yeah, it's different.
And it's different because you ended up actually adding these as opposed to subtracting these. Yep. Okay, guys. That's important. That's a good math skill we have to be able to do when working algebra problems. Solve something, be able to plug those numbers in. Okay. let's practice one more. And then we'll move on to the bottom. Solve for y, which this actually goes right along with the bottom and then when we're solving. Solve for y. So if we're trying to solve for y, what am I trying to get by itself? Okay, I want to get the 5y by itself, right? So what do I need to move away from the 5y? The 10x. How do I move a 10x away? It's a positive 10x, so we're going to subtract 10x. What I do on one side, we're going to do on the other side. 10x minus 10x cancels, which is what I want. I want it to disappear. So then I have 5y. What is 80 minus 10x? Ah, good. I thought she was going to fall for it. 80 minus 10x is 80 minus 10x. I did not subtract them because they don't both have the x, right? I know, it's so tempting, isn't it? Am I done?
Nope.
Nope. What do I have to do now?
Divide by
If it's 5 times y, we divide by 5. If we divide one side by 5, divide the other side by 5. 5y divided by 5. The 5's cancel and you just have y. Now, I would encourage you to go one more step with this. I would not leave it like this. And the difference between this one, last time, 2 didn't divide into 5, which is why I stopped there. This time, does 5 divide into both of those numbers? It does. So, what is 80 divided by 5? 16. Minus 10x divided by 5. 2. So my equation is y equals 16 minus 2x. Set up, Jason. Try and follow along. Okay. Find y when x equals 3, 5, and 6. Can you do it? Why not? Calculator's a good thing. Okay, find y. Y equals 16 minus 2 times x. What's the first x I'm putting in?
Oh, the 3.
The 3. Okay. Be smart. What's Aunt Sally going to tell you to do? Does she want you to subtract or multiply?
Multiply.
Multiply?
2 times 3, which is 6.
Did you not like my Aunt Sally reference?
No, I'm just really tired.
Okay. PIMDAS if you prefer, right? We multiply and divide before we add and subtract.
Yep.
So 2 times 3 is 6, and 16 minus 6 is 10. Okay, another one. 16 minus 2x, so 16 minus 2 times 5. Taking turns putting my x values in. Again, we're going to multiply before we add or subtract. 2 times 5 is 10. So now I'm doing 16 minus 10, which is 6. And once more. $16 minus 2x, except x is 6.
12.
2 times 6 is 12. And 16 minus 12 is 4. Okay, guys, you're going to see a few of those in the homework where they're going to say, okay, solve this formula. and then plug these values in. Okay? The big part of today, though, is can you solve these formulas? Can you solve these equations? And that's what we're going to practice. It's just some various different types here in the next part. Make sure everyone has what they need for their notes. Okay, this next one says solve for x. So that means when I get done, my answer is going to say x equals. That's my goal. Now, as you look at this, negative t equals r plus px. You can work with that as is, which I'm fine with. Or if you're someone thinking, I don't really like this, because if I'm solving for x, I want to have my x on the left, you could flip-flop these sides. And maybe that's unnecessary to you, but an option that I would suggest is make this r plus px equals negative t.
Can I just get up?
No, that would be messy.
Did I get doorknob?
No. You heard the bathroom door across the hallway. Okay, if I flip this and make it r plus px, what am I solving for? X. So I've got to get x by itself, which means I've got to get px by itself. How do I get px by itself?
Slide.
Well, okay, to get px by itself, what do I have to move away? Well, no, hold on.
The R.
Okay, yeah. To get x by itself, that's our final goal.
Yeah.
But first of all, we've got to get px by itself. To get px by itself, how do we move r?
Subtract.
Since it's a positive r that's being added to something else, we're going to subtract r. If I subtract r on the left, we're going to subtract r on the right. See, just because we throw extra letters in, this is the same things you've been doing the last week.
Why put letters in the first place?
Okay. R minus r is, no. If I have r and I take away r, I have 0, nothing. What do I still have on this side, though?
Yeah.
Px. On the right, I had negative t, and now I'm subtracting r. Negative t minus r is negative t minus r. Remember, you can multiply anything you want, but add and subtract, you just leave it as is. Am I done? Do I have x equals?
Yeah. Oh, no.
I don't have x equals, I have
Yeah.
px equals. If I have px equals, how do I get x by itself? If it's p times x, divide, right? P and x are being held together by multiplication. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. What is it I want away? I want that p to move away. If I divide the left by p, we're going to divide the right by p. And then what is negative t minus r divided by p? Yeah, it's that. Okay, it is negative t minus r divided by p. Yep, that's the answer. And I know that's the answer because it says solve for x, and my answer became x equals, right? Okay, let's try another one. This time it's a minus 2b equals negative 10, and we're being asked to solve for b. So in the end, I want it to be b equals, right?
Yep.
In the meantime, I have a minus 2b. So first of all, before we can get b by itself, we need to get 2b by itself. So that means I need to move the, not,
A.
A.
I'm going to move the a first. Now, this is a positive a. So since it's a positive a, we're going to subtract. If I subtract a on the left, subtract a on the right. A minus a cancels. I have negative 2b equals, and what is negative 10 minus a?
Negative 2
Negative 10 minus a. Am I done? No. Because I don't have b equals, I have negative 2b equals. So what do I still have to move away from b? The negative 2.
Divide by 2. Negative.
Okay, there we go. Good teamwork. If it's negative 2 times b, I'm going to divide that number away, which means I'm dividing by negative 2. On the left, the negative 2's cancel, and I have b equals. On the right, yeah, 10 can divide by 2, but can a divide by 2?
No.
No.
So just leave it like that.
So one option is to leave it like this. Negative 10 minus a divided by negative 2. And I'm going to say I'm fine with that answer. I don't know if Math Excel would be or not. Just because every single term has a negative. And so if every single term has a negative, they're going to say, okay, you could divide everybody by a negative. And you could make this 10 plus a divided by positive 2. Okay? Okay. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Are you ready, David?
Yeah.
You with us?
Yeah. I just got texted from my mom saying she would pick me up. Trying to confused.
Okay, she's picking you up early because your brother's in the nurse's office. And so she's picking him up early, so she's picking you up early. I'm supposed to send you down about 10 till if I haven't gotten a call beforehand.
Wait, my brother's in the office now?
He's in the nurse's office.
How do you know? Oh,
Because I got a call. I got a call at passing period.
Before you said you got a call, that was really creepy how you.
I'm so confused.
You're going home because
Okay, you're going
your
home
brother-
You're going home a few minutes early because your brother's sick. Now, can I get back to this math problem so we...
Yeah. I'm so confused about it. It's gonna work.
Don't worry about it right now. Math problem, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. She just keeps texting me and telling me you get picked up. I was like,
Put the iPod away right now.
what? It's put away. That's why I had this out because she kept texting me.
Okay, just put it away. Be done because you're not even supposed to be on your devices right now. So if she's just texting you right now, you shouldn't even see those texts.
Facts.
Okay. mx plus 2nx equals p. I'm solving for x. This one's a little different. But I need to prepare you for what you might see. What do you notice?
There's 2.
There's 2 x's instead of 1, isn't there? So what I'm going to suggest, and I can do this because both x's are already on the same side, yes?
Yes.
I'm going to suggest we factor out an x. Which means I'm going to say, okay, let's take x and let's factor it out front because they both have an x in common. Now, if it's m times x and I divide by x, what remains? The m, right? Because I pulled the x out front, so there's still an m. There's still a plus sign. 2nx. If I pull the x out front, what remains? The 2n. And this still equals p on the right. Okay? Now, no, we don't want to distribute because if we distribute, we just go back to the original problem. It's the temptation, I know. This is x times m plus 2n. We want x by itself. So if x is being multiplied by something, how do we move that something away? We're going to divide. Because this is one factor all in parentheses, we can divide by m plus 2n. If I divide the left by m plus 2n, we can divide the right by m plus 2n. Then the idea, m plus 2n will cancel. I'm going to have x equals, yeah, that mess, right? P over m plus 2n. The tricky part about this lesson, I feel like, is every problem's a little different, isn't it? They're not all the same. So I do feel like that is kind of the tricky part. Okay? Let's see. I do want to look at this next one because it has a fraction in it, and I don't want you guys to run away from the fraction. We're going to attack it, not run away from it. Again, what are we solving for? Solving for x. Now, x minus m divided by v. You remember the other day how I said, okay, what's the last thing being done to x? If it's x minus m divided by v. The last thing being done is divide by v. What's the opposite of dividing by v? Multiplying by v. If I multiply one side by v, I multiply the other side by v. What do you think v times y is? V times y, or what I'm going to write as vy. On the right, the v's will cancel, and I'm going to be left with x minus m. If it's x minus m, how do I get x by itself?
Divide.
No. How do you move a minus m? The opposite of subtracting m is to add m. If I add m on one side, we add it to the other side. What is vy plus m? Vy plus m. So I'm going to write this. I'm going to flip-flop my sides here. X equals vy plus m. Okay. And I think in the essence of time, because I want you guys to have a little bit of work time, I'm going to stop here. We're just going to skip the last one for right now. We don't. We've had, do you feel like you've seen lots of examples?
Yeah.
I feel like we've done lots of examples. So we're just going to skip the last one for right now. What is your homework? Lesson 2.5 in Math Excel.